Good evening, folks. We have got a best of 5 tonight between two familiar faces. It's going to be the pink Protoss in the top right, Mr. Timbo Slice, and his red Terran opponent in the bottom left, Mr. Kevin Leee. So once again, this is going to be a best of 5. And I'm not sure what race these guys are going to be playing throughout the match, but currently they are off race. Both players are Zerg mains, so Kevin obviously going to be a Terran this game, and Tim will going to be a Protoss. And there are stakes for this matchup. The loser has to watch Michael B. Jordan's new movie called Without Remorse, and he will have to watch it without touching their phone. And the reason this is a punishment is because this movie has a 5.8 rating on IMDb, 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, 42% on Metacritic. So, needless to say, not very good movie. And while they're watching it, again, they are not allowed to touch their phone. They have to give the movie their undivided attention. The runtime is 1 hour 50 minutes. So that's going to be a lot of wasted time for the loser, perhaps. Onto the game. Looks like it's going to be a one barracks opening followed by a factory out of Kevin. And Timbo has gone for a forge with a gateway and a cannon, and he has just a single zealot. So this Reaper coming across, oh actually it's not going to be able to find too much damage because of this cannon in the mineral line. So nice foresight there from Timbo, perhaps anticipating a Reaper. Reaper's going to come in, spot the cannon, and going to have to back out. And Kevin's going to try to micro against this zealot, get a few shots in. Going to clean up its shields, get a little bit of damage onto the meat of the zealot. But he should not be able to get it. And in fact, the stalker comes out and cleans up the Reaper. Nicely done there from Timbo. Doesn't lose any units and picks off that Reaper for free. Timbo also has his expansion finishing up already, so he's going to start mining off of 2 bases very shortly. Kevin has also gotten his up, but has not morphed it into an orbital quite yet. He's going for a siege tank. Gonna siege that up. That's gonna make his defense pretty solid, at least for now. And behind this, Kevin's going for a starport with reactor. So what's it gonna be? It's gonna be a liberator, single liberator for now. Kind of an odd choice considering he has a reactor, but he doesn't really have the money for too much else at the moment. Another tank pops out. That's gonna bolster his defenses even more. And on the side of our Protoss player, Robo facility coming up. I would expect an observer. And a couple more gateways. Shield battery going down. Researching +1 but he doesn't really have too many fighting units. Looks like it's only a Zealot and Stalker. Yeah, indeed, that's all he has at the moment. So Timbo focusing a lot on kind of just teching up, building up his economy, getting upgrades. Doesn't really have much of an army right now, and so this Liberator coming in is going to be able to do a good amount of probe damage. 1, 2 probes. Timbo pulls them away. Pretty decent reaction from Timbo, pulling them off quickly. Now Kevin sieges up in range of the cannon. Uh-oh. That's not good. Gonna take a lot of damage on that Liberator. Very low HP, down to 20. Gonna try to siege up again, but Timbo on top of his micro. So nicely done there, and gets the Liberator. Very nice out of Timbo with his 2 units. Only one that hits air, so making the best out of what little he has currently. Throwing down some more gateways, but you gotta use the ones you have, Timbo. Make some more units. Look at all this money that both players are floating. Of course, again, neither player playing their main race at the moment. Now Kevin going to be starting his double medevac production, but he still only has 1 barracks and 1 factory. So that explains why he is floating so many minerals. Timbo, he's got plenty of production facilities. 5 gateways already, plus 3 more on the way. Robo facility, of course. But he's just not using them. He's not producing any gateway units. He's doing a ton of research. Got his +1 attack already. Getting his +1 armor. Getting blink. Just not getting units. And if Kevin were to go for some kind of attack, Timbo might be in trouble. Kevin now throwing down some more barracks, realizing he just can't spend his money. Throwing down 2 command centers in the main. Going to be floating the 3rd over. Drops a couple scans to see what Timbo's up to. And he's going to see just about everything. Yeah, he even spots that Twilight Council, so he knows everything that Timbo is capable of. But of course, we see that Timbo is very far behind in terms of supply. Look at that. 53 out of Timbo to 91 from Kevin. And again, that just goes back to Timbo not making use of his gateways, not warping any units in. And take a look at his standing army. It's still that 1 Zealot and 1 Stalker. It's 8.5 minutes into the game, and that's still all he has. Got plenty of gateways. Just not sure why he's not warping anything in. It's a little crazy. Does now warp in 8 additional Stalkers at this proxy pylon with its slow warp-ins. And, he's going to spot this big drop out of Kevin and blinks to get a few of those medevacs. Kind of a right place at the right time situation there out of Timbo. Picking off a lot of supply from Kevin. Blinks in again to get another one. And, that was costly. Going to pick off this command center as well. And all of a sudden, Timbo has seized control of this game. Continuing to warp in more Stalkers from this pylon. And even blocking this 3rd location with another pylon. Timbo now going to be working on the rocks. Not really sure why that was necessary. If anything, that helps out Kevin for his future expansion. Kevin going for a 2 Liberator harass now. And Timbo, his entire army is here across the map. So these 2 Liberators might do some work. sieging both of them in the mineral line of the third, and is going to get some probes, going to relocate the second one to the natural expansion. Going to pick off some more probes there, going to deny a lot of mining time. Look at all these probes not mining. I don't know how many that is, but it's a lot. Let's take a look at the income and look. The past few seconds, a huge spike from the Terran player, and that's obviously due to the probes not mining. So nicely done there. Only about 8 workers killed, but the mining time is also very valuable. Might pick off this Liberator. Yes, does get it. And Kevin still floating a ton of resources. Just drop some more gateways. Sorry, not gateways. Barracks. Drop some more factories. You just have so much money right now. Timbo doing a lot better now. He has been warping in a lot of units here. And always going to pick off these 2 tanks for free. Gonna fight this. Whoa! Big move command there. Taking a lot of unnecessary hits. But I don't think it matters too much. The bulk of Kevin's army is actually going to be these medevacs. And Timbo could have forced the issue, but he decides to back up. Wait for some more reinforcements. These slow warp-ins. It would be wise to put a gateway here for some quicker warp-ins. But still fine as it is. And blinks on top of all of Kevin's tanks and gets all but one. And gets the last one as well at the cost of all his units. Not sure if that was entirely worth it, but he did pick off almost all the tanks, so that's good, I suppose. We could take a look at the units lost. Yeah, a little bit more lost out of the Protoss player. He did lose his entire army, which consisted of 36 Stalkers, 7 Sentries, single Zealot. But still, the resources are kind of close, I suppose, and Timbo has been mining more, I believe. He is going up to 4 bases now. But his army at the moment is a little lacking. And he's going to have to get more. This 4th base not really coming into play just yet. And Timbo actually falling pretty far back in terms of supply, trailing by about 40 at the moment. Now going up to however much that is. Kevin has dropped his 3rd. He is not morphing that into a planetary or orbital just yet. But Kevin has a pretty sizable army, and he is pushing out 4 tanks, a bunch of Marines, and a bunch of medevacs to protect those Marines. And this is going to be very tough for Timbo to hold. He only has 15 Stalkers at the moment, and this might be it. I thought Timbo was in an okay spot earlier, but it's just so difficult to engage against sieged tanks. He blinks in, but the tanks in the back just shelling away, gonna decimate Timbo's army, and he has nothing left. Expect a GG any second now. Kevin just continuing to ravage the 3rd base, cleans up that Nexus, gonna go to town on these probes. And on the other side, Timbo going for a bit of a counterattack with some Zealots, cleaning up Kevin's 3rd as well. That's nice, but the problem is this massive Terran army at his doorstep. He doesn't have enough to deal with it. 3 Colossus, that's nice, but I don't think that's enough. Tanks of course, outrange Colossus, so it's still going to be very difficult to fight this. Timbo doing his best across the map with this counterattack, absolutely ravaging Kevin's base, but that still leaves this Terran army, and I don't know if he can clean it up. It's looking better than it did a minute ago, but like I said, those tanks with their range. And does Timbo have his Colossus range? No, he does not. He hasn't gotten that pivotal thermal lance upgrade. I don't know if he even knows what that is. And the moment he walks down, these tanks are going to shell away at his units, wipe those stalkers off the face of the planet very quickly. These Colossus not going to be able to do too much on their own. And GG, Kevin is going to take the first game. Welcome back, folks. This is game numero dos between these two players. It's going to be once again our pink Protoss in the bottom left, Timbo Slice, and up 1-0, the red Terran, Kevin Leee. Last game, Kevin with a pretty standard bio tank medevac composition. Just too much for Timbo to handle. And I thought Timbo had some moments in that game, catching the drop unaware. But ultimately, he wasn't able to hold off the tanks. Very difficult to deal with. We'll see if he makes any changes in his unit composition or does anything cheeky. Currently, it's going to be, once again, a Forge and Gateway. And this time, it's going to be a high ground wall out of Kevin. And he went for a pretty quick 2 supply depots to block the scout. You don't really need 2 supply depots that early. So I wonder if Kevin is trying to hide some tech. He is getting his second gas already. So maybe we'll see a quick battle cruiser rush. Currently just getting a Reaper to start things off. And Timbo once again going for cannon in the mineral line. That's going to do very good to defend against that initial Reaper. And a second cannon here at the front of his base. Gonna be dropping the cybernetics core, and then I would expect a nexus soon. Kevin gonna also be eyeing his expansion, but gonna be getting that in his main base. Of course, as a Terran, he has the luxury of floating his buildings over when he's ready. Reaper comes in, tickles a few probes, but is not able to get any kills. Gonna start shooting at this assimilator with his pistols. That's gonna take forever to get it. And, ooh, does get a probe while they surrounded the Reaper. So, that was about the best that Kevin could have hoped for with that Reaper. I would have preferred that he kept it alive and used it for scouting later on, but a probe, some lost mining time, that's good enough. Timbo now floating a lot of minerals once again. Hasn't gotten his Nexus yet. That's a little odd. Not sure why that is. He did have probe in position earlier, I thought, but gonna be a bit delayed on that, so Kevin gonna be taking that advantage as well. And, oh, okay, so it's gonna be 2 starports with tech labs. That's gonna be the tech of choice out of Kevin, making use of his double gas, and it's gonna be Banshees. Kind of an odd choice, if you ask me, because you already scouted this cannon in the main, and you have to know that there's a cannon in the natural as well. Did he see that? Yeah, he spotted that cannon too, so kind of weird that he would go for Banshees, but we shall see how that plays out. Kevin taking a pretty sizable income advantage. He has 32 workers on 2 bases, so going to be, yeah, shooting ahead in the income. And now Timbo going to be making his proxy pylon with a gateway this time for those fast warp-ins. That tells me he aims to get pretty aggressive pretty soon, perhaps when this +1 attack finishes. And he does have 5 gateways he can warp from, with the 6th, of course, coming down at that proxy location. 2 Banshees flying across the map now. Not sure how much they'll do. They are undoubtedly going to get some probes, and that's a good amount already. 3 so far. But Timbo has the vision. He just needs some anti-air to deal with these, and he can warp in stalkers at any time, Timbo. Goes for 1. Gonna need a little bit more than that, Timbo. He has the money. He has the gateways. Not sure why he's only... Okay, that's why. He's warped in at the proxy location. 2 more stalkers here in the main to try to deal with these Banshees. And I think Timbo should use this opportunity to make an attack, and indeed he does. Going in for that supply depot first. 1 tank on the defense. Gonna be pretty solid. Shelling away at the stalkers. Gotta move those up just a little bit. Doesn't really matter. Gonna start cleaning up some SCVs. Picked off a Banshee. Picks off another one. And that's pretty worth it already. More stalkers reinforcing. Going to be getting some more SCVs now. SCVs forced to attack. Going to actually get 1 stalker. Maybe even this second one. That's very low. Nice micro there out of Timbo. And 16 SCVs down. That's definitely much needed out of Timbo. Evening up the worker count. Going to be getting some more here. And that was definitely what Timbo needed to get back into this game. Gonna be marching on into the main. Very brave, but looks like it's gonna pay off at least for now. Now two more Banshees pop out. They're gonna be able to cloak. So the Stalker's not gonna be able to kill those. They are now on a timer. These Banshees will eventually clean them all up. Or will they? They are running out of energy soon, but tank pops out, gonna siege up and finally clean up those Stalkers. But that was good damage done out of Timbo, who is now trying to macro up behind this. Floating a lot of minerals once again. Warping in 3 more Stalkers here. Not really sure if those will be able to do anything. Um, and yeah, Kevin just gonna have to remake his SCVs, dropping a ton of mules. This third command center will need to be finished as soon as he puts another SCV on it. But during that time, Timbo took a huge advantage in the income. Now Kevin taking it back with his mules. But in terms of supply, both players pretty even. Kevin floating a lot of resources. Timbo has spent some of his on a robo facility, remaking some workers, getting another cannon in the mineral line for safety. But once again, not a huge army out of Timbo, so gonna have to be careful if and when Kevin moves out. Timbo does have a few stalkers here across the map, and he might be able to do some damage at the front if he were to make an attack. But now these 2 tanks getting set up, gonna be pretty solid on the defense there. Kevin starting to remake his wall now. And Timbo, he has fully saturated his second base. Should be thinking of a third soon. Kevin as well, and he is floating over his third. Gonna fly right into Timbo's proxy, so Timbo, if he's quick, might be able to get this command center. That will be a nice pickoff, and is he going to get it? Kevin tries to fly it away, but it is getting low, and it does go down. Nice pickoff there from Timbo, but you do not want to walk into those tanks. Oh no, losing a lot of his stalkers right there for almost nothing. Is gonna get these Banshees, and whoa! Timbo just taps out. I don't know if that was premature. The supply was definitely in Kevin's favor, but wow. 2-0 for Kevin. All right, we are back in this third game. Between these two players, it's going to be, once again, the pink Protoss, Timbo Slice, and the red Terran, Kevin Leee. Kevin up 2-0. So Timbo is going to have to dig deep and get himself on the board. I thought he had a good chance again last game, but made a pretty critical error walking into some tank fire, losing a bunch of his stalkers for free. And he just couldn't recover from that. Timbo this game sends a scout over, gonna tickle this SCV, gonna be super annoying, forcing it to pull off the barracks. Very nice there. Delaying that out of the Terran. Every little bit helps. Forcing another one to pull off to fight. Just being super annoying. And Timbo going for a gateway first on the low ground. Going to be getting his gas. And Kevin once again going for 2 gases pretty quickly. Finishing up that barracks. I would expect a Reaper, as is typically the opening for Terran players. You do see a factory going down very quickly to complete this wall. And Timbo going to be getting his second gas as well as his natural expansion very quickly. Cybernetics core also almost done. So Kevin is going to be getting that Reaper. And it's going to be running across the map. And I wonder if it'll go straight into the natural or hop in from this backwards location. And this time Timbo did not get a forge. So he does not have cannons to defend. But he is getting a early stalker to defend against this Reaper. And where is this guy going to be going? It looks like he's going to be going down and up through this slow zone right into Timbo's main. Timbo a little bit slow on that stalker, so gonna start taking some damage on his probes, but the stalker is here to defend. Nice job there before losing any probes. But the stalker is kind of slow, so not going to be able to kill that Reaper. And it's going to be able to get away and heal up. And it can jump back in at a later time. Now Kevin also setting up his natural expansion, going for a starport once again with a reactor this time. So similar to the first game, he's getting a reactor starport, but I think he's going to be getting medevacs this time to perhaps drop these Hellions. We'll have to see. And getting a second starport even, that's interesting. So it's going to be a Viking. Interesting choice. Not sure why. But Timbo is going for Stargates this time. 2 Stargates. Going to be getting 1 Void Ray for now. And he does have the money for another, but hasn't gotten it just yet. Going to spend it on a Fleet Beacon and air weapons upgrade. So it's going to be very difficult for Kevin to deal with. Vikings, not the best counter to Void Rays. Void Rays do bonus damage versus armored And they have that prismatic alignment ability, which allows them to do even more damage versus armored, which is what Vikings are. The better counter would simply be Marines for the Terran player. Now the fleet beacon is done. He should start getting... hold that thought. 2 Hellions going to be coming in, roasting some probes, and they're going to be doing a ton of damage. That's way too much damage to take from 2 Hellions. 15 probes. That was bad. Considering he already had units that could have defended, that is way too much damage. And he reveals the Hellions, so is Kevin going to change anything up? No, he's just going to continue pumping out Vikings. And yeah, Vikings aren't the best against Void Rays, but when you have this many pumping out 4 at a time from 2 starports, they're going to do just fine. Only 3 Void Rays at the moment from Timbo, and this could be very bad. Kevin continuing to mass up his Void Rays. And Timbo going to be getting charge behind this for his Zealots. Another 2 Hellions coming in. Loses 1 to the cannon. That's nice. And loses the second one. Much better on the defense that time from Timbo. Going to be throwing down a third. Both players, in fact, going to be throwing down their third. And Kevin continuing to mass up these Vikings. 16 Vikings against 4 Void Rays. Vikings are going to take that fight easily. So Timbo gonna need more. Either more Void Rays or something else to deal with the Vikings. He has committed a lot to the air currently with his 2 Stargates, Void Rays, Fleet Beacon, air weapons upgrade. So maybe just keep getting Void Rays. There will eventually be a point in time when the Vikings will not be able to deal with the Void Rays, but currently 19-5. That's definitely in favor of the Terran. And look at that fleet of Vikings. Very formidable force right there. And I think if Kevin wanted to, he could just fly across the map with those, gun down these Void Rays, lickety-split, and then land the Vikings and just destroy everything the Protoss has. Not going to be doing that just yet. And nice little harassment here with a bunch of Zealots on the third. Going to get 10 SCVs for his trouble. Going to warp into the natural as well. This is very nice damage out of Timbo. And that's going to prompt Kevin to go for his attack with all of these Vikings. And ooh, that's going to be difficult to deal with. Look how quickly they just destroy the Void Rays. And like I said, he's going to land those now and go to town. Some more Void Rays here. Not going to be very helpful against those Vikings. So we kind of have a bit of a base trade situation here, but usually not a good idea to base trade a Terran because of this. They can lift up and float away. So even though Timbo is completely destroying Kevin's worker count, he is gonna lose all his Void Rays And then the Vikings can just land once again and continue destroying the Protoss base. And these zealots, they'll eventually clean up everything that cannot lift off, but the problem is the buildings that can. And Timbo just doesn't have an answer to these Vikings, and GG is called. That's going to be a 3-0 out of Kevin Leee.